America votes. The world holds its breath. And somewhere, a confused bald eagle wonders why people are arguing on Facebook about someone named Cornel West. So who will be the next president of the United States in 2028? And why should you, living in Malaysia, Germany, Ghana, or literally anywhere else, actually care? Because here's the truth. When America sneezes, the world gets geopolitical COVID. Let's break it down. With facts. With sarcasm. With just enough fear to keep you watching. The 2028 field. Who's really in the running? Let's set the stage. It's 2028. America's deciding who gets the launch codes and the nuclear football. And as usual, the options range from interesting to I need a drink. We don't know for sure who's running yet, but the tea leaves, Twitter hints, and awkward book tours give us a pretty solid guess. On the Democratic side, Pete Buttigieg, former transportation secretary, still speaks 8 languages, still blamed for every delayed flight. But sharp, youngish, and still the best retail politician Democrats have under 50. Could be the Obama-style reset Gen Z wants, if he can shake the bureaucrat label. Gavin Newsom, California governor with movie star looks and a LinkedIn endorsement from hair gel. Loves debate stages, Fox News takedowns, and mentioning abortion rights at brunch. He's already positioning himself for post-Biden leadership. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, House member turned icon, was still too young to run in 2024 but perfectly positioned for 2028. Has the energy, the base, and the tweets. But can she flip the suburbs and not just the internet? Jon Ossoff, senator from Georgia. Calm. Polished. Looks like he was built in a moderate Democrat lab. He's been quietly stacking experience, foreign policy chops, and swing state credibility. Not flashy, but don't count him out. Wild cards. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Strong Midwestern appeal and took on COVID head-on. Maryland Governor Wes Moore. Rising fast, ex-Army, Rhodes Scholar, and charismatic enough to make donors swoon. Michelle Obama? Still a hard no. But if things get weird, she's always on the fantasy roster. On the Republican side, Ron DeSantis, former Florida governor. Loved by the right, loathed by the left, and allergic to charisma. 2024 bruised him, but 2028 could be his comeback, if he can smile without glitching. Nikki Haley, former UN ambassador, tough on China, smooth with donors, and very much trying to be the sane conservative. If Trump's out, she's got a lane. If Trump's in, she's got a problem. Vivek Ramaswamy, still talking, still trending. Possibly running for supreme influencer of the United States. Less likely to be president, more likely to launch his own country on ex-Donald Trump again? He'll be 82. He's entangled in trials, bans, and legal landmines. But if he's legally eligible and breathing, don't rule him out. His base remains loyal and very online. Wild cards J.D. Vance, current VP MAGA voice with a Rust Belt edge and Ivy League polish. Gov. Glenn Youngkin, Virginia dad vibes, khakis, and Wall Street money. Tucker Carlson, not kidding. If 2028 is weird enough, even that's not off the table. So what's the vibe? It's messy. The Democratic bench is getting younger, more diverse, and more progressive, but also divided. The Republican bench is sharper than expected, but still orbiting Planet Trump. And American politics? Still a Marvel multiverse. Infinite possibilities. Yet somehow they all end in conflict, cliffhangers, and someone trending for the wrong reason. Why this election matters, like actually, let's talk stakes. America isn't just electing a president. It's choosing a global stance, a climate posture, a war strategy, a relationship counselor for world powers, and a reality show narrator for the next 4 years. Here's what's on the global menu. 1. The Middle East. War, peace, and perpetual talks. Whoever takes office in 2028 will walk straight into a smoldering mess in the Middle East. Think. Ongoing instability in Gaza, Iran's nuclear ambitions, U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria still being targeted. Turkey playing both sides like it's a political DJA hawkish president, say a DeSantis or Haley, might escalate U.S. military presence. A more diplomacy-first leader, Buttigieg or Ossoff, might lean on coalition building, although history tells us that doesn't always go well. The world's watching because oil, weapons, and religion don't mix well without supervision. 2. China, rival, partner, or frenemy with nukes. By 2028, China's economy might still be the second largest, but its influence? First rate. Whether it's Taiwan, the South China Sea, TikTok, or semiconductor supremacy, the U.S.-China relationship is the axis that could tilt the world. A Republican win may bring more tariffs, decoupling, and military muscle in the Pacific. A Democrat might maintain competition but push for coexistence and climate collaboration. Either way, expect tension, not harmony. Bonus drama. Watch the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia, where China's influence is creeping into both waters and wallets. 3. Russia and Ukraine. Still not over. Yep, it's 2028 and Ukraine is still in the headlines. Why? Because Russia doesn't back down and Ukraine doesn't give up. The U.S. election could tip the scale. A pro-NATO, pro-aid president keeps up the weapons and training. A more isolationist leader, or a Trump redux, could pull funding and let Europe handle it. Bad news, Europe's not exactly sprinting toward defense leadership. Good news, war fatigue may force peace talks depending on who's in charge. What America needs versus what America wants. Here's the hard truth. America often votes not for what it needs, but for what it feels. In 2028, voters are likely to care about inflation, still annoying; immigration, still misunderstood; culture wars, still distracting; AI taking their jobs, and whether their kid's school teaches something that might make grandma uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the rest of the world hopes the next U.S. president doesn't start another war, funds climate change solutions, strengthens international alliances, and maybe learns geography. Wishful thinking. Maybe. But hope dies last. So, who will win? And why we're all nervous. Predicting a U.S. election is like trying to forecast the weather during a tornado. But here's what we know. Demographics are shifting. Gen Z and millennials will be the voting majority. Media is fractured. People are living in totally different realities. Trust in institutions is near all-time lows, except for Taylor Swift. If Trump runs and wins the Republican primary, it could trigger record turnout, for or against him. If he doesn't, the GOP might swing toward DeSantis or someone even more right-wing, depending on the vibes. Democrats? They need energy. A new Obama moment. Without it, they risk losing despite favorable policies. Who will win? We honestly don't know. But here's what's guaranteed. The entire planet will feel it. If you're not American, why you should care? Let's be real. U.S. elections are not just domestic events. They're global mood swings. Stock markets react. Foreign leaders adjust policies. Wars pause or escalate. Alliances shift. And if the wrong person tweets the wrong thing at 2 a.m., currencies collapse. So even if you live thousands of kilometers away, the 2028 U.S. election will touch your life. Through climate policy, economic trade, migration rules, or security alliances. And yes, probably through memes. The world is watching and holding its breath. So who will be the next U.S. president? We don't know. But what we do know is this. America's choice in 2028 won't just decide who sits in the Oval Office. It'll decide who writes the next chapter of the global story. Will it be progress or polarization? Stability or chaos? Fireworks or actual fires? Let's hope America chooses wisely, not just for itself, but for the rest of us who don't get to vote, but still have to live with the outcome.